Welcome everybody to the Sacred Summit. I am Trish Pellin, and today I am talking to Dana. And Dana's topic at the Sacred Summit is healing the journey of the soul. Tell us more, Dal. Like, what's it all about? What are you all about? And what's happening? Tell me.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of questions in one
I know.
question. So I think I want to start with what the talk is all about. So
Yeah, yeah,
the bit mysterious, but actually it covers something that is, I think, it's very natural, and that is something that it's concerns most of us spiritual seekers, self-development people. I ride a bit the two worlds. I think always when you speak about self-development, it's people who are more like intellectual, going more
yeah.
to the scientific part of it. Okay, how does this work? How can this help me?
Hmm.
While the spirituals are more like somewhere more in the heart, maybe they're like, okay, I let go. And it's none of the two ways is wrong. It's more about how we are wired. So
Yeah.
I ride a bit in between because I started as a self-developer. I needed to understand everything. And I dropped more and more into the heart, where
Oh,
there came a moment when I could trust that something can develop without needing to know exactly in advance the what and the how.
yes.
So this is about, yes, the healing process, because that's why we are doing what we are doing. Everybody has his own reasons, maybe because we have some traumatic past, maybe because, like my story, somewhere in your life you came to the conclusion that you got it all. And when I'm saying I got it all, I'm not like a
Hmm.
incognito Hollywood artist or something, but in my books I got it all that would have needed to bring me happiness, joy, some kind of peace. And what I experienced at that moment, I was also young enough, was that none of that promised happiness, recipe for happiness really happened. And I started to wonder, I said, okay, this is not it. So
Hmm.
I had also the part where I said, well, there's something wrong with me because everybody's happy because they have the car, the job, the expensive trips, and
Yep.
everything that we're supposed to have.
Yep.
But then luckily I came out of it and I said, well, maybe that's not it. So
Hmm.
then I went into this. Actually, that's where my healing process came, because at that point I just knew, well, we have a problem here. We want to be happy. We have everything that what the society is saying
Hmm.
to have it, and what's the happiness?
Yeah.
So that's how my healing process started. I didn't even know I needed healing. I knew that I wanted this, all these things.
Hmm.
So I started to search. Of course, when you start to open, the universe somehow directs
It's
you to
like the
the right place.
floodgates, like, yeah.
Yes, it's a bit, it's impressive how when it's enough that we have an intention strong enough, and something, even if it is not like fireworks,
Mhm.
something small happens that can grow into what you actually need in order to have, to manifest whatever you wanted in your life. So this is what happened to me. And I got into contact many, many years ago, like 15, 20 years ago, with the family constellations method, which was something that at the time was mind blowing,
Yeah.
because it's a method that um, has nothing to do with the mind. Like,
Yes.
it's been so many years since this method is being used, and nobody can exactly explain how it works and
Oh.
why it works so beautifully. But it's basically, I'm trying to put it in a very short space here. You put a group together
Hmm.
and you get a client, and the client says, I have this issue, and the issue can be anything from career blocks to relationship issues with the partner, with the family. It can be past trauma, it can be anything. So
Yeah.
you put these ingredients together, and the intention is obviously there to heal, but it's not even said. Some facilitators work a bit more with it, but not really, it's not even needed. And the moment when all this is put together, and then the client chooses in between the group some representative for the mother, for the father, for maybe for their own issues. Some people say, I'm just blocked. I don't know why I'm blocked. So we put a representative for the blockage. The moment you have all this mixture in a room and you say, okay, now let's see what happens. Please start walking in the room and just be a bit in your role.
Yeah.
And there the magic happens. There people start to act like the mother. They sometimes start saying things, and the client says, yeah, this is exactly my mother.
Wow.
I was in a session where a representative said, well, I feel it's a lot in the body, so it's not in the mind because we don't know the story. And it's not about the ideas we might have about the story we heard a bit about.
Yeah.
It's really about comes through the body. And one representative said, I don't know, I feel a bit wobbly, as if I didn't stand well on my legs. And the client goes like this and says, oh, my father has an amputated leg. So to that point of accurateness, it can go. How it is, I would say there are written books since this method was brought after the Great War, after the Second War, sorry, was brought by missionary priest, a German named Hellinger,
Yeah.
who had been for 10 years in Africa, working and living with the Zulus. And that's where he got in contact with this kind of healing method, where the community comes together to heal a certain issue, not like the individual like we do. So he was mind blown, so much mind blown that he brought it to Europe,
Yeah.
and he became a psychologist. And he spread this method.
Yeah.
So yes, so the thing is that since then, books have been written, psychological books, about how this actually works.
Mhm.
Nobody came with a definitive answer to it. But
Mhm.
what I can say after all this year of practicing on myself and with clients, after a certain period, I felt that I can share it because it helped me so much. I
Wow.
can say it's one of the most healing methods I've ever experienced because it goes right through your analytical mind in the subconscious.
So
There
it's
is something.
great for those analytical processes that are constantly. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Well, that's why they call it emotion, isn't it? Because you've got motion and need to move. So, yeah, honestly, absolutely fantastic. So, how long have you been using it for?
Uh, it's more than 15 years now. I started with my own process,
Mhm.
and then I got into learning how to facilitate it and how to work with clients. And now it's more or less 7 years since I'm working as a facilitator.
Mhm.
So this is something that I feel that I would like to speak to the world more because
Yeah.
it's it's just for me it's just mind blowing, and the results you can have with a session like that
Mhm.
are shortcutting. I'm not exaggerating, years of psychotherapy, because in psychotherapy you just go round and round and round with what
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
And this really takes you out of there. It brings you somewhere in contact with a deeper wisdom. And I have to say that I get humbled by the wisdom that goes through and what people say. And it's not only about the healing that can happen only by the method itself.
Hmm.
It's some kind of process of learning of a deeper
Yeah. Deeper.
knowledge, because people say things and you're like, wow.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
So I'm always humbled by what I can hear.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's really old wisdom. I had a session with a client who, in the middle of the session, because you can do it also individually, said something that she was working on her heart, with the connection with her heart,
Hmm.
was visualizing the heart and stuff like that, because I can guide you in that too. And she says, well, the heart is telling me that I should not worry about um, processing strong emotions, because that's what the heart is made for,
Oh,
in transforming emotions. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy and so lucky to be able to witness something
yeah,
like this,
yeah.
especially that this spoke to me to a very old Tibetan meditation about opening the heart that
Mm.
goes with the same principle, that actually you breathe in pain, which is really counterintuitive to what we do these
Oh,
days.
yeah.
Like, so basically, you breathe in pain into your heart, and the heart does the magic, and you breathe out joy and peace and whatever you feel that is the antidote to
Wow.
that specific emotion. And I can tell you that if you do it for long enough, there's a lot of pain that we all carry that gets processed to this, because there's an acceptance and a surrender to the pain that even if we don't accept it, is still there. We're just using the energy to battle it down. So, yeah, for me, this thing that somebody who had absolutely no clue about this can come with such a profound insight. And it's funny because at the end of the session, I spoke with her about her session, and she mentioned a lot of things, and she didn't click with this, because she was so much in the process. It
To
for
process it.
sure unlocked something in her,
Yeah.
but it didn't even come to the consciousness to say, oh my goodness, this is like revolutionary what I just
Mm.
said here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
So that
absolutely beautiful, Dal. Honestly, I can't wait to sit in on your talk and hear all about it and, go a bit more in depth into detail because like even I used to work as a hypnotherapist before I started doing this and just some of the evolutions that would occur so naturally and all they needed was somebody to help facilitate and guide them on that journey. So I cannot wait to hear more about it. Please, everybody, join in on the Sacred Summit for Dana's talk. It's going to be fascinating because she's got the stuff, she's got the work, she's been doing it herself. So jump in on that. And we will see Dana at the Sacred Summit. So thank everybody for tuning in, and we will catch everybody in the future. Bye bye.